United Airlines has announced a new deal with Boeing to buy 100 787 Dreamliners, including an option to purchase 100 additional planes with delivery expected between 2024 and 2032. I spoke with United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby earlier this morning about the big deal.
You know, this really solidifies United's position coming out of the pandemic as the flag carrier of the United States and the leading global airline. And we really set this up going back a couple of years ago during the summer of 2020 in the middle of the pandemic, when every other airline around the world started shrinking, retiring fleets. We decided to keep all of ours. We always believed in the ultimate recovery of travel, started building new simulators, buying narrow bodies. This is really just the next step, a really big step, but the next step in solidifying that position as the leading carrier around the globe.
Yeah, before we get into the specifics of these planes, and they're really noticeable, increased premium seats, you name it, but the way I take it, this is a big bet that travel will continue to just come back, perhaps in a big way from the COVID-19 pandemic.
You know, it perhaps is not as big a bet as you think, because the first 100 airplanes are really replacement. It's straightforward economics to replace a 30-year-old airplane with low fuel efficiency with a new modern aircraft. The 100 option aircraft, we think we will take all of those, but because they're options, you know, we can watch the market development. We're expecting mid-teens margins earnings on each of those airplanes. And if they're delivering on that, which we think they will, then we'll take all of them. But we don't have to take all of them. And so, you know, it's a bet that it's an option on a really strong recovery, which we think is what's going to happen, but not a requirement if the recovery is less robust than we anticipate.
You know, it's not lost on me, and I'm sure a lot of investors, this order, a significant order, comes at a time where the economy is slowing around the world. Do you see any pre-recessionary indicators in your business as you look into next year?
You know, demand is really strong for us right now. And I think what's happening is this is really more a return to normalcy in the economy. So hard goods, online, you know, which went crazy during the pandemic, are coming back down to normal, while services, travel, restaurant, getting your haircut, really got crushed during the pandemic, and we're coming back. So the economy feels pretty good to us. If you squint hard, you know, we could find places where some business travel, particularly tech, has slowed down and really never really started traveling. So I guess you could squint hard and see what I would call pre-recessionary behavior. But there's so much other good stuff, particularly hybrid work, making every weekend a holiday, leading to just structurally higher travel. That for us and for air travel in general, you know, we just see we're setting records every month on travel demand.
Scott, I'm a bit of a plane geek, and I'm jealous that you're in that hangar with those big, beautiful planes behind you. I wish I was there. Seeing these, how do these orders change the investing profile of a United Airlines?
You know, if you're an investor, I think that it's an underappreciated story for United Airlines, really for aviation in general. I think we have structurally higher demand because of hybrid work, making every weekend a holiday. And we have an environment where industry supply, both domestically and internationally, is going to be pretty severely constrained because of pilot shortages, aircraft shortages. You know, as great as this factory is, both Boeing and Airbus are behind and are going to probably be behind for several years on building airplanes. Air traffic control saturation. All of these things mean that supply is constrained. And economics 101, you know, better demand, lower supply, winds up being really good for investors and airlines. And United in particular, because we saw this coming a couple of years ago, is so far ahead of the curve in terms of being able to take advantage of that in a way that no other airline can.
What's the level of confidence that Boeing has had its struggles the past 2-3 years, that they're going to be able to deliver you these planes on time?
Well, you know, our guess is that both Boeing and Airbus are not yet out of the woods in terms of the supply chain issues, and we don't expect them to be, you know, get 100% of deliveries on time for us or for anyone else. For what it's worth, it's not just Boeing; it's the whole supply chain. And both Boeing and Airbus are doing a really good job of trying to help the supply chain get caught up. I think the biggest constraint is probably going to wind up being aircraft engines. When all is said and done, it's a constraint today. Though that's probably going to be the longest pole in the tent as opposed to the actual airframe.
Within these new planes, take us through how the experience from a consumer standpoint might be different compared to what you have in the air now.
Well, yeah, thanks. These are beautiful airplanes, and everything about them is modern and refreshed, from the Polaris seats up front to the large, premium economy cabin, the economy plus cabin, but larger overhead bins, Wi-Fi, newest generation of Wi-Fi, just everything about them, the 787, all the interior, the larger windows, the air on the airplanes, everything about them improves the customer experience.
Are ticket prices just going to have to go higher?
Well, they are not because of this, because these airplanes actually wind up being cheaper to fly than a 767 because they're new generation technology. So not only are the interiors better for customers, but the cost profile is a lot better with modern technology.
I think what's getting lost in the headline of these orders, Scott, is how many people you plan to hire next year. Take us through that number and where will this hiring be?
So we're going to hire about 15,000 people next year. We're hiring 15,000 people this year as well. And that's kind of the trend of where we're going, given the growth that we have. And it's really happening across the board. It's about 2,500 pilots, about 4,000 flight attendants. And it's really a great opportunity to refresh and bring in, a culture, an exciting growth culture. I mean, it's just so good for all employees. And that's a big part of making our employees feel proud. It's the most important part of our product are our people. We say we're about connecting people and uniting the world. They are the most important part of what we do to get people where they want to go and make them feel good about the experience and having growth opportunities for them, both for the company and that means growth opportunities for them personally, really is exciting for everyone at United Airlines.
And that was United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby on a big day for him. Lots of Boeing orders and worth noting, Boeing still the top ticker on the Yahoo Finance platform.